again, another Sunday is here, and we're together again on Newsline. Yes, Sunday Family Tonic. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. I must apologize for the little bumpy start, but I can assure you that this Sunday is loaded, and I mean really, really loaded, and our journey will be smooth. Now, tonight, Newsline crew have raised the bar on stories that inspire, promote resilience, peace, love, and unity. And I just love philosophers, not just because I am one, but because they provide us with navigational compass to understand our world. Now, Plato, for instance, came up with an idea that ab initio, man was one whole body. Love, he says, is basically the search for a missing soul which was separated by the gods. But when they find each other, they become two souls in one body. Perhaps that explains why many bachelors, and should I add, spinsters, are also searching. Anyway, we have stories of people who have confirmed this theory and found their missing halves. Now, in a rare display of quality that resonates, her name, a young victim of a fire incident dares the odds and embraced the future. Now, that story is also on the line tonight. Nigeria is a haven for culture and tradition, and no edition of Newsline will pass by without celebrating our rich heritage, either in weddings, festivals, and even in death. Tonight, a cultural explosion will be drawn from Ekiti, Ibadan, and Fumbina. Some of our stories are also mind-boggling, you know, stranger than fiction kind of stories. And yet again, another phenomenon is brewing in our schools, and if care is not taken, may become another virus in our educational system. Now, for some weeks now, again, indefatigable correspondent Ijoma Ugweke has been reporting on events in Sin community in Kana, that's in Rivers State. Tonight, she will bring us an update on the incest story reported on Newsline a couple of weeks ago. And of course, we have a very unique undertakers at the Kwangi Cemetery. I don't want to talk much. It's because we are loaded and I would like to accommodate all our stories tonight. So I'll just take a sip of water while Elizabeth Omori brings us the news in 20.
Thank you so much, Claire. President Bola Tinubu has advocated the need for local currency to be allowed to find its level and compete with other currencies of the world. President Tinubu said this during a speech at the World Economic Forum in Riyadh on Sunday, where he justified the removal of fuel subsidy and maintained that it was needed to reset the nation's economy.
Interested in discoveries by themselves, and highly ready for technology, good education, committed to growth. We were able to manage that and partition the economic drawback and the fallout of the subsidy removal. The capital formation that is necessary to drive the economy, like agriculture, food security, innovation, technology advancement, must be an inclusive program of the entire world. No one should be left behind. The fear of lack of capital in Africa, stigmatization, and I'm glad the world is recognizing the need that the type of population growth that Africa is experiencing, the diversity of its resources, must be married with its economic opportunity.
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim criticized Western countries for what he claimed to be a complete abdication of responsibility regarding the issue of Gaza. He mentioned that his country has established strong engagement with the United States and Europe, also maintained excellent bilateral relations with China, South Korea and Japan.
We have to steer that policy issue of governance, of fiscal responsibility, at the same time do not lose sight of the key priorities which is relevant in this session, the issue of globalization, of interdependence. We adopt a very fierce foreign policy position to engage and depend on the support, collaboration, investments from the West, the United States, Europe, at the same time maintain excellent bilateral relations with China, Korea, Japan.
With the theme Global Collaboration, Growth and Energy for Development, the two-day gathering brought together 1,000 global leaders from 92 countries. Heads of state and government, thought leaders from both public and private sectors, as well as representatives from international organizations, academic institutions, and non-governmental organizations attended the meeting. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says his administration is investing in technology that is tailored towards ensuring transparency and accountability in government and accelerating public sector performance and service delivery to the Nigerian people. Speaking during a meeting with Microsoft founder and philanthropist Bill Gates on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum special meeting in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, President Tinubu said technology is a potent weapon against corruption and financial impropriety in public service, emphasizing his unwavering commitment to deliver reliable technology that will support a national consumer credit system and many other critical new government interventions for Nigerians. The president says resistance is often expected when efforts are made to strengthen systems and forestall malfeasance. In his remarks, Bill Gates informed the president of a one identity technological platform that can integrate variegated data while explaining the centrality of data harmonization to planning, security and tax efficiency. Bill Gates says Nigeria has the capacity to manage technological systems as the nation brims with talented youth. Now, in other news, Vice President Kashim Shettima will depart Abuja today to represent President Bola Tinubu at the crucial International Development Association IDA 21 Heads of State Summit taking place tomorrow in Nairobi, Kenya. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Okwocha, says the high-level gathering hosted by Kenyan President William Ruto will see African leaders unite to call for an ambitious replenishment of the World Bank's International Development Association concessional lending arm. Vice President Shettima is expected to take a lead role in advocating for Nigeria's vision of a transformative IDA 21 financing package to accelerate development across the continent over the 2024 to 2026 period. He is expected to emphasize that partners like IDA will be critical to realizing Nigeria's economic transformation agenda, with the country's young population requiring substantial investments in sectors like job creation, energy access and human capital development. The Nairobi Summit follows previous IDA gatherings in Abuja in 2022 and Dakar last year, where African leaders united to call for an ambitious IDA 20 replenishment from donors. Away from IDA 2021, fuel situation facing motorists in Abuja seems to be easing up, with more petrol trucks captured driving to various filling stations within the metropolis. Lydia Sampson reports that most petrol stations are no longer visible, overwhelmed with queues. Petrol trucks were seen either driving in or loaded with products waiting to discharge. Motorists, however, have different opinions and perspectives to the whole situation. While some say the situation is better, others believe not much has changed, alleging that it is simply because it's a weekend.
Almost not moving.
Maybe, let's say,
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
The queue is not as long as it was yesterday and day for yesterday. So maybe there's some improvement, hopefully.
Today is better, at least the fuel has started coming.
Okay.
It's not better because this is necessary for a Nigerian citizen. It shouldn't be on a queue for you to get fuel. It's quite very stressful.
Yesterday was tougher. This morning was tougher too because everybody came out in their numbers. I just see the numbers reducing right now.
It seems like there's improvement in supply, and I believe tomorrow will be better than today.
To other issues, the federal government, through the Ministry of Works, has flagged off the demolition of property on the right-of-way of the 700 kilometers Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Larry Billery monitored the process and brings us details.
Hours after the federal government announced its readiness to commence payment of compensation to property owners along the Lagos-Calabar Highway, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, visited the affected areas before demolition commences. Okwaja Seaside Community and resort centers at Oniru are some of the affected property.
Demolition order was passed to all the affected investors, so to say, and I graciously increased the grace period by another 7 days and yet another 4 days. And here we are because the project stopped because of lack of this demolition.
One of the property owners along the right-of-way believes it's a sacrifice for national development.
Yes, some of us are affected, no doubt about it. But some of us are not up to 0.1% of the millions of people that will enjoy the coastal road.
The minister used the opportunity to address issues surrounding one of the resort centers that has generated heated debate.
AMAC, unfortunately, has made so much noise about this. I had to revisit the place. I continue to say that none of this infrastructure is affected, just the shanties.
He confirmed that compensation of demolished properties will be a continuous process before flagging off the demolition process.
And so I flag it off.
The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway on completion is expected to attract foreign direct investments to Nigeria, develop the potential of our coastal businesses, especially at the local economic corridors, and boost tourism and marine businesses. In Lagos, Larry Billery, NTA News.
Now let's draw attention to the Okene bypass crash. Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps Dauda Biu condemns the fatal road crash that claimed 19 lives on Sunday, 28th of April 2024 at Okene bypass on the Okene-Lokoja Highway in Kogi State after enduring over 3 hours. The FRSC emergency response teams deployed to rescue the victims could not achieve desired results as efforts put into the rescue operations were unduly hindered by fire that engulfed 2 vehicles involved after spending more than 3 hours trying to rescue the victims. The crash, which involved 2 vehicles comprising a Dangote truck and Toyota bus, was said to have been caused by route violation, one-way, and wrongful overtaking. The bodies of the victims have been deposited at Okene General Hospital. And Governor Dakpo Abiodun of Ogun State has promised to compensate victims of yesterday's explosion at Itaoshin along Abeokuta-Lagos Expressway. The governor, who visited the scene of the incident and the victims receiving treatment at the hospital, also promised to pay the medical bills of the injured. Larry Billery reports.
Itaoshin scene of the gas explosion along the Abeokuta-Lagos Expressway has continued to attract residents, including the Ogun State governor. The governor promised to relocate and compensate the victims and pay the hospital bills of those injured.
I have directed that 1 or 2 buildings be evacuated until our regulatory agency that's in charge does the required integrity tests on those buildings to ensure that they are safe for our people to continue to live in there.
He further speaks on the way forward to prevent future reoccurrence.
As a state government and as a responsible one, we are going to ensure that we put the required legislation in place to provide the required oversight.
Eyewitnesses' account indicates that the lone accident, which occurred on Saturday, 27th April 2024 at about 5 in the evening, was as a result of brake failure of a truck laden with gas, where the driver lost control of the vehicle and ran into the road median, resulting in the explosion. It was gathered that while the driver of the truck is still on the run, the assistant driver lost his life in the incident and his remains have been deposited at the General Hospital, Ijayi. 4 vehicles were also burned to ashes and 5 shops were affected by the inferno. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbode, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, sends heartfelt condolences to Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, the families of those who lost their loved ones in the petroleum tanker explosion in Rivers State and the entire community affected by the tragedy. Senator Oluremi Tinubu notes that losing lives in a sudden and devastating way is heartbreaking. Her thoughts and prayers, she says, are with those who are grieving. She prays God to grant the souls of the departed eternal rest. Now, Nasarawa State Government inaugurates a 7-man advisory and technical committee that will facilitate the development of oil and gas sector in the state. This follows the inauguration of the first oil field in the state last year. Governor Abdullahi Sule, who inaugurated the committee in Lafia, tasked them to liaise with NNPC Limited for seamless implementation of oil exploration in Obi and other parts of the state. Aliu Tijani reports.
Recovery of oil and gas in the state, with exploration ongoing, has launched the state into the oil and gas community to facilitate investment in oil and gas sector that will benefit the people of the state, as well as provide enabling environment for investors. A 7-man committee has been set up by the state government. The committee will, among others, liaise with other stakeholders in the industry and monitor compensation for host communities. Also, the committee is expected to facilitate execution of corporate social responsibility for the host communities.
The associated benefits of this project are in the areas of wealth creation, employment opportunity, revenue generation, and economic growth of Nasarawa State. Guided by our desire to ensure the maximum benefit of this project, it becomes absolutely necessary to be proactive in order to place the state on the right pedestal for oil and gas exploration and exploitation activities in the state.
The governor also urged host communities to take ownership of the investment by creating peaceful atmosphere for investors. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
Now let's take you to Ikot Ifana Impa, a community in Calabar municipality ravaged by gully erosion, and the people are soliciting swift intervention by government for the community not to be completely eroded. Paul Abel visited the community and brings us this report.
Ikot Ifana Impa, a community not too far from NTA Calabar, right in the center of Calabar metropolis, is a peaceful place for both visitors and indigenes, but one challenge threatening the continuous existence of this community is this gully erosion. For some years now, several houses have gone down here, and especially with the rains, people living close cannot sleep with their 2 eyes closed, as no one knows the next house that will be claimed. The people are in constant fear of life and property, and the question is, how long shall this continue with no remedy?
It started from 2007. So they worked it very well, but the landing was not good enough. It was landed in a swamp.
So this place has taken over 200 or 300 and something buildings.
It's my father's property. He has already picked some, like there was 3-bedroom flat here before this other one, before this compound. So he has packed a lot.
What is the stand of the state government?
It will be even more dangerous than this once the rain begins. So I think with this, government will do something about it.
The appeal of the people is that government should come to their rescue
They are hoping and praying that one day the menace of the houses that are giving prey to these sites will come to an end. In Calabar, I am Paul Abel, NTA News.
In the war against drug abuse is still on, 2 notorious drug lords have been sentenced to life imprisonment by a federal high court sitting in Abuja. Salwat Khalil Ibrahim has details of this and other operations of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in the past week.
For 43-year-old businessman, his journey to a lifetime in jail began when he was first arrested by NDLEA operatives on the 19th March 2022 at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. He was found to have ingested 100 wraps of cocaine weighing 2.243 kilograms, same as the case of another 42-year-old drug dealer who was also convicted on similar offense. Meanwhile, NDLEA officers at the Gate C departure hall of the Lagos airport intercepted a passenger while attempting to export 4,000 pills of tramadol to Malpensa in Spain. The psychoactive substance was found concealed in women's wear and granulated melon, popularly known as egusi. In Bayelsa State, NDLEA operatives on Wednesday, 24th April, arrested a 28-year-old lady for producing and distributing cakes laced with illicit drugs, especially cannabis sativa. At the time of her arrest, substantial number of the drugged cakes weighing 1.5 kilograms were recovered from her. 2 others were arrested for a similar offense. More illicit substances such as cannabis sativa, pentazocine injection were intercepted in Kaduna, Adamawa and Edo states. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Away from drug interception, the Nigerian Television Authority NTA MENA now runs 18 hours of uninterrupted transmission, courtesy of the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission (NIPODEC) that supported the station with 33 kVA transformer. General Manager NTA MENA Miriam Salihu, who led other management staff of the station on a thank you visit to the Commission's headquarters in Minna, says the feat has translated to better service delivery. Usaina Musa reports.
Television Authority NTA MENA has recently migrated from the 11 kVA to 33 kVA transmission line, a step to improve the station's power generation and ensure effective and efficient running of transmission. The project, executed by the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission (NHIPODEC), is born out of the collaborative efforts between the federal government agencies. To this end, the management of NTA MENA, led by its general manager, Miriam Salihu, were at the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission's headquarters in Minna.
Very happy that it has come to fruition, because this has helped us in our transmission hours, because we were transmitting 6 hours and now we're doing 18 hours. So
we are delighted that the little intervention we are bringing to the activities of the NTA in Minna is proving helpful. And that is the objective of setting up the commission.
Official inauguration of the power project, which is already being put into use, will be announced at a later date. In Minna, Hussaina Musa, NTA News.